Hey guys, Mikey here again today, bringing you another video on Diablo 3 on how to play the Wizard in Inferno 10. So I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, here we are again today. I'm really excited about doing this video. The Wizard is a really good class. She's amazing at locking down groups and holding them for group play. This is a wonderful build to play with other people, so I'd strongly suggest doing it with other players. You can solo with this build, and if you plan on just, leveling and farming and killing trash, it's very viable. This build is slightly lacking in the ability to kill elite packs. That's the only problem with this build. If you're super geared and you have amazing gear and you have the ability to burn them down pretty quick, kudos to you, but I don't have that kind of gear on this character as of right now. Like I said, my main is my Witch Doctor. I really focused on her. All these other characters I kind of just, found gear built up over time. However, she is a lot of fun to play, and this build is very viable and very good if you do it right. So anyway, let's get into the skills, and then as well get into the items like usual. On my left click, I like to use Energy Twister with Wicked Wind. This is going to be one of your primary skills. It's going to be proccing a lot of critical hits, and I'll be talking about that here in a second, why that's good. On my right click, I like to use Teleport with Wormhole. This ability is amazing. You pretty much can reposition anywhere you need to. You can get in and out of sticky situations. Often if like a bull comes to charge me, this is just one example, but if a bull's coming to charge me in the Fields of Misery, I usually will teleport to him first and freeze him before he can, so it's a really good skill. On my one key, I like to use Slow Time with Time Warp. This could easily be swapped out for other things, but since I have enough life on hit, I like the Slow Time with Time Warp. You get the extra damage bonus to 20%, is really nice. You could easily swap it out for Magic Weapon with Blood Magic. If you're having problems with survivability, you still get bonus damage out of this, and then you get lifesteal as well, which is pretty awesome skill. Actually, it's not bad. On my 2 key, I like to use Diamond Skin with Diamond Shards. This is just more AOE and more chance to crit, so it's an amazing good thing to have. On my 3 key, I like to use Explosive Blast with Chain Reaction. You get 3 consecutive explosions that cascade off of you, each causing 97% weapon physical damage. This is a really good skill. Each one has a chance to crit, and it's just constant with this build. You'll be able to keep spamming this over and over, so it's just constant explosions. You basically become a living bomb with this build. It's really fun. On my 4 key, I like to use Frost Nova with Bone Chill. Again, this is just more damage, and as well as just being able to freeze everything in the area constantly. It's a lot of fun, and I'll go into it here in a bit and show you guys how that works. On the passives, I know you could switch this out for other things, and before I get, flamed or spammed for it, I know you want to pretty much, if you're going to do Ubers, you want to maximize your attack speed, and you want to use Evocation for the cooldown. However, I'm doing a video on how to basically farm with this build, and I don't have the gear to even remotely be at max attack speed or anything. So I like to use the Blur. Me personally, I think it's a great skill. Some people use the Evocation in its place, and some people use Unstable Anomaly, so those are possibilities as well for that. Me personally, the Blur, I've tested it, and it seems like it pretty much gives you damage reduction on pretty much everything in the game. I know it says melee damage only, but it works on a lot of things, so I like that skill a lot. It's great. Critical Mass, this is a no-brainer. I know you guys probably, a lot of you already know this build. However, this is just for the people that may be starting off in Diablo or having a hard time getting the build to work. But Critical Mass is a must, and you have to use this with this build or it won't work. Cold-Blooded is amazing as well. All damage dealt to chilled and frozen targets is increased by 20%, so you got 20% there, 15% there, and 20% here. So this build is just a lot of AoE damage and damage ramp. And to see, the thing is this, for example, enemies caught in the bubble over time take 20% more damage. That works for you and your allies. Enemies take 15% more damage while frozen or chilled by Frost Nova. I don't know if that applies to allies, but it is more AoE damage. All damage dealt to chilled and frozen targets is increased by 20%, and I'm pretty sure that applies to allies as well. If not, still it's nice to have all that extra damage for yourself, and even if you only got 20% more for everyone else, it's still nice. Anyway, let's go over some of the items. As always, I'll kind of just skim over them. This item here is pretty much a must. If you don't have the critical hits grant 9 arcane power on your Chantoto's Force, you have to use this helmet, so that's why I'm using it. I don't have it on the Force, and plus you have the life on hit and crit chance. It's really nice. And something as well as the 8% lightning damage actually gives you more damage, so that's pretty decent. This gear is all subject to change. Like I said, she's not my best, most geared character that I have. And the Chantoto's Force. Anyway, unbuffed right now. I'm at 192.72, 192.072, which is not bad, 192k. It's a pretty decent amount of damage. These are all the overall stats that I have. Now, if you're going for a maximum attack speed lockdown, I believe you have to have 3.1 or 3.2 attacks per second with the evocation cooldown reduction. So a lot of people do that for Ubers for permanent lockdown on single target. However, like I said, this build is just me showing you guys how it works basically and how you can farm with it. Crit chance could be a little higher, and I do have items that could increase my crit hit chance, but I swapped it out for survivability. You know, I like to have some survivability in my builds. My life on hit, again, I got some there, I have some there, and I have some there on this amulet as well. I probably have more than enough life on hit, but I like to have life on hit. Survivability is a good thing. Something you guys want to keep in mind when playing any type of role-playing game. Your damage is way less superior and useful if you're dead. So survivability is very important. Some people don't realize that about role-playing games. Anyway, let's get right into it. Now, before I take off, I'm going to kind of go over how to do this and kind of explain it a little bit to you guys so we can get an understanding before I just take off and start doing it. Pretty much what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in and you're going to want to use your Frost Nova, and you're just going to start spamming these 3 keys here, 2, 3, and 4, and your left click is going to be Energy Twister, so you can hold that down on targets around you and just keep spamming it, and you're going to get Arcane return on every critical hit. So you have 9 here, and you have there's 9 there. Where's my other one at? Sorry, kind of brain farting here. Yeah, there it is actually. Well, I don't know why I did that. Anyway, you get 9 there and you get 10 here, so you get 19 every time you critically hit. So that's pretty much how this build's going to work. Every time you critically hit, you're going to be getting arcane power back. So you're going to crit, you're going to get all your cooldowns reduced, and then you're going to be getting energy back constantly. So anyway, let's get into it. I know some people say you can use macros and not have to spam the keys, but I've heard you can get in trouble for that, and I don't like to take the chance of getting my account banned or anything, so I'll do whatever it takes to just not get in trouble. You know, I'm better safe than sorry, more or less. If somebody says, well, this brand of chicken's making a lot of people sick, I'm not going to go out there and take my chances and eat it and make myself sick. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to, might as well grab that, teleport right into a group, and just throw a Frost Nova and start going to town. And then throw up your Time Warp, and then you just have all that extra bonus damage. And you can see how that bull charged me there, and it pretty much, I mean, it didn't do a whole lot of damage to me, and that's where that 20% damage reduction really comes in handy. And all I'm doing is I'm holding left click down, and I'm just spamming 2, 3, and 4. And then I'll teleport to a location and keep doing the same thing. And, you know, this build, some people say, well, it hurts my fingers, you know, whatnot, whatever, but it really doesn't seem to bother me too much whenever I do it. I mean, I'm not, if you don't go, like, just crazy and start spamming your keys and mashing them real hard, like, I'm barely pressing them, and it seems to work just fine. Now, you see that bull about to charge? I teleported on right on him, and it froze him in place. I don't know if you, I hope you guys can see that. And that's what I was talking about earlier. That wormhole is really nice for repositioning and just blowing something up before it gets to you. Now, I know the damage is not so amazing compared to some of my other classes. But like I said, this build is awesome for group play. I mean, all that extra bonus damage you get for your allies. Okay, we got a pack here. Now, I will show you what I was talking about. This build is not too good for killing elite packs. The thing that's nice about it, though, is that whenever you freeze enemies, a lot of people may not know this, it actually stops like return damage and molten and things like that. It keeps them from being able to do those things. They had mortar, I don't know if you saw that earlier, but they had mortar on me, and I stopped it from being, you know, spammed and thrown at me. So the nice thing about it is you can kill elite packs, but if you're doing it for the sake of leveling and trying to farm and, you know, power level, things like that, stopping and killing elite packs isn't really the way to go. It's less experience per hour, as I've stated before in my other videos. But it is possible to kill them, you know. That's why I did it, just to show you guys you can do it if you want to. And that was without my my time warp or whatever, which is 20% extra damage. Derp. Sorry, I haven't played her in a while, so. There you go. Froze that guy right in place before he got to do anything. And like I said, you know, I'm just holding my left click down and just moving it wherever I want to throw those tornadoes. That's awesome. It works great. There you go. Don't forget to use that time warp. It's that extra damage makes a difference, as you can see. Now, I know a lot of these builds that I show you guys and things that I do, it's all opinion based, and I know there's people out there that like to do different things, and that's what's great about role-playing games is if they do it right, if the creators, developers do it right, there really is no certain one way to do everything. Unfortunately, in Diablo 3, you know, I want to give Blizzard kudos, and I want to say they did a good job. However, they really limited the individuality and the special, you know, personal preference and build to the characters, I think, in this game. Everything's pretty much cookie cutter so far. I mean, I'd go as far as to say that pretty much like 90% of the wizards on here probably use the CM build, you know, things like that. I have seen some good arcane wizards, so that goes without saying. I know it's not everyone who does that, but, you know, for example, whenever the Cloud of Bats build came out, everybody was doing Cloud of Bats, things like that. So unfortunately, in this game, everything's pretty much cookie cutter as of right now. I probably will be making a video on a lot of the new updates and release new content and things like that, to kind of keep everybody up to date on what's going on. And hopefully all the changes will be for the better. Ridding of the auction house, buffing legendaries is going to be a huge step. You know, I feel like they missed a very vital aspect of the game, and I know everybody already knows this. You know, anyone who was a Diablo 2 player. A big part of the game, after, you know, hitting max level or pretty much getting to the highest level possible, you know, a big portion of the game was magic finding. That was a lot of fun in the game, treasure hunting. I feel like Borderlands 2 did a really good job doing that. There are games out there that do execute that well. Borderlands 2 did a really good job. I honestly felt like Borderlands 2 was what Diablo should have been, just in first-person shooter version. And I do plan on making some videos about that with that game soon as well. If you guys haven't played that game, it's an amazing game, I think. It's really fun. The only thing Borderlands 2 lacks is the ability to find groups and things like that. It's not as easy. So, anyway, kind of off on subject, a random tangent there. Anyway, yeah, this is basically how this build works. This is pretty much what you do. You just lock everything down. And you guys can see here how this would be amazing in a group. I mean, just being able to lock everything down. Especially if you have a monk, you can do this with your wizard, and then a monk comes in and just pulls everything together. It's a really good combination of skills. Blow up this group here, and then I'll probably end the video. Again, you know, you throw up your bubble, and try to get out of that poison. Throw up your little bubble, and you just keep spamming. Gotta watch that poison. That poison hurts. Anyway, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. And as always, if you guys have any questions or need any help, I mean, do not be afraid to ask. You know, I really like helping people out. It's just something I like doing, and it supports what I do. And it's, you know, I don't necessarily have to have that, but I mean, it is appreciated. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos, and you know, if you guys subscribe to me and things like that, let me know so I know who you are and I can get back to you and subscribe you back and talk to you. It's, you know, it does get hard to try to communicate with people and keep up with everybody, but I do try my best, you know, to answer everyone's questions, and I'm a firm believer on trying to be on a one-on-one personal level with anyone who has any questions or wants any help. So anyway, thanks again so very much, everyone. I hope this was help. I hope you enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, comments, please do not be afraid to, you know, write me, ask me anything you want. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. I know I say that a lot, but I really do, and I hope you have a good day.